All right, we are officially ready to go. Let me ask you something that may sting just a little bit. And I'm getting right to the point, hitting you straight in the gut, and it might even save you. All right, it might actually save you. And how many times have you, either the listener or if you're catching this on the live, how many of you have actually prayed for change? Like you said, Lord, change X, Y, and Z. And then lived like change was optional. Ooh, I'm preaching, right? And how many times have you said this? Even better. God, I want to be better. I want to do better. Yet your habits voted against your prayers. You see where I'm going with this? And here's the cold, hard truth, y'all. Factual information that I'm going to drop some knowledge bombs for you right now. Faith without follow through becomes just a imagination of a fantastic or a fantasy story. All right, it's a fantasy story, and follow through without faith becomes more ego than anything else. And fitness is everybody's on these New Year's resolutions goals, and we're coming up to the third week, and 90% of people of you are going to fail. That's why you need to hear me today. Fitness is not just a body goal. It's a spiritual mirror. And let me explain a little bit here. The way you train your body reveals how you lead yourself. So today, I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to put together faith, I'm going to put together fitness, and then the follow-through piece. Now, these are not going to be separate, all right? However, they're going to be one identity. And being an identity coach for nearly now almost 25 years, actually more than 25 years, but building my agency for the last 4 years, the one thing that we all need is to understand our identity. So let's get into it. The real goal is not a new year. The real goal should always be this: a new you. If you're ready, let's go. Let's dive in. Jump in right now without further ado. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to Michael Hicks and the Liv2Thrive Podcast, the show where we don't do motivational sugar. I don't sugarcoat things. What I do is transformation that's going to change your real life with actionable, proven things that will change your life. So if you're tired of starting over, if you're tired of feeling strong for everyone else except for yourself because you have been so inconsistent, you want to hear me till the end. Maybe you're tired of praying for outcomes while living in endless circles that are like endless merry-go-rounds, and you truly, like, maybe you're even like spinning your wheels in the mud. Well, you're in the right place. This identity coaching, which is faith-forward leadership and practical growth with a proven formula that works, mindset, discipline, healing, boundaries, and purpose. Now, today's episode is for the person who's ready to stop lying to themselves. Is that you? Because if it's you, let's get into it. Faith, fitness, and follow through are not separate. They're connected. And faith is what you believe, okay? Now, I'm going to be sharing a lot of my personal stories in today's episode. And fitness is also about practice, and follow through is who you actually become. And if you're one of those three, or let me say that again, if maybe one of those three are missing, the other two are going to significantly suffer. So faith without fitness becomes what I believe, but I don't live in alignment. See where I'm going here? Fitness without faith becomes a body chase that never fills your true soul. And follow through without the why becomes discipline that turns very bitter. So today, we're going to build this whole thing together. And I'm not going to build this thing while building the airplane as we're in the air. I'm building this from the ground up. And I'm going to give you some Live to Thrive proven framework that is simplified. And we're going to begin with the identity first. Identity first, which is then followed by the environment, and then your schedule, and then how to execute this daily. So I say this so often, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your identity. This is monumental. And let me start with the why. If you do not have a strong why, building your convictions, building your goals, you're always going to have a strong excuse. You know, some of you built these great, how can I say it? You built these goals that sound nice. However, they don't feel necessary. And when a goal is not necessary, it becomes negotiable. Like you just throw it in the trash. And here's the Live to Thrive upgrade. All right. Your why is not due to the fact you want to look good or look better or feel better. Your why is what I like to say, a calling to lead your life correctly. And if your energy is low, your patience suffers, your discipline is weak, your confidence is immensely depleted, and your identity is unstable. And guess what happens to your relationships? They suffer. So I'm going to give you 3 whys right now, the 3 why questions, and jot these down. These are really going to change your life, and you're going to get the entire blueprint at the end of this podcast today. So, and it's not the how, I'm going to give you the why for a change. Here they are. Who suffers if I stay the same? The first question, who suffers if I stay the same? Or are you like this? I'm doing great. And then you go back down to old habits because that old self is still pulling you back. You don't have the right tools. You haven't built the right identity to get you to that process of consistency. You ever see that in some people? They fluctuate. Sometimes they look amazing, and like a year later, they're like back to their old selves. So the second question of the 3 why questions is, who benefits if I change? Who is it? And write these down. These are really good scripting options that'll help and change your life. And the third question is, what is God attempting to build in me through this process? Now, when your why, I talked about this earlier, when your why is clear, your follow-through will become more doable. It'll become more possible. You'll actually get excited about it. Now, the real moment is your why isn't necessary. All right? Your goal will be negotiable. If your why isn't necessary, your goal will always be negotiable. So when you set those goals, they weren't truly necessary because your identity is off. Does that make sense? I want to give you a little story. An old story about me, actually. And this story is about stealing. It's about vandalizing. And it's a true identity collapse. Now, I'm going to take you back to a version of me that I'm not really proud of. However, I'm not really ashamed of either to admit it in the 7 different continents that I'm streaming. Is it's part of the proof of what I teach now. And let's get into it. As a teenager, man, I was doing things that looked like confidence on the inside. However, it was basically insecurity wearing a leather jacket. I stole, I vandalized, I chased thrills. I remember next door neighbor showed me this cool trick. He's like, oh, you just need like $2 and you could buy this cool stuff. So at that time, they had these price tags and they were stickers. You would peel one off, the expensive one, right? So let's say you wanted the expensive Walkman. And for those of you who don't know what Walkmans are basically headsets that would play music. So let's say it was $49.99, that sticker price. I would take off that sticker and I would put it on a cheaper one, and I'd get the cheaper sticker, which was $29.99. I'd put it on there. I did those things. I'm not proud of those moments, but I was chasing thrills, and I got caught. Not once, twice. And I wasn't doing this because I was bad. I was doing this because I didn't live in alignment of who I am. I didn't have a true purpose or a true calling, even though, bless my mom, who's in heaven now and took me through private schools my whole life. So I'm going to continue with the story here. I'm going to, again, protect the identities of the people that were involved. So I'm going to call either my crew that I was hanging out with, Reuben, Micah, and Jonah. We're going to call them, all right? Because I'm using biblical names in my book that I'm writing. We would do like some silly, and I laugh, some silly stuff just to get laughs. You know what I mean? Like excuse me here, but throw a dog bone at someone when they're sitting down on the ground and attempt to get them in the you-know-where, right? Just silly stuff. And the truth was deeper. We wanted a sense of belonging, right? We wanted respect. We wanted control. And when we don't have a specific identity, and maybe it's a wrong identity, I should say, you'll take power any way you can get it. And even if it's that kind that destroys you later. I remember one particular night running after a vandalized situation. Heart was pounding. We were laughing. I remember being with one of my friends, and I was with Reuben. And Reuben was a New York Giants football fan, so he had a New York Giants jacket on. And it was a wintry night after probably the holidays. Well, no, actually, it was right before the holidays. And we would go around the neighborhood and vandalize. And how we would vandalize is they would have these beautiful Christmas decorations. And we would take one bulb out. I would start out by taking one bulb out, two bulbs out, and then the whole thing would, stop, right? Well, Reuben thought it'd be funny. He grabs the lights that were hanging up on the gutters and takes one end and starts running with it. So, you're right? And he's laughing hysterically, and we're laughing, and somebody comes out, and they start to chase us, and now our heart's beating, and I'm following him. He was super fast, and I'm following him. And I wanted respect. I wanted to be in control. And I remember being and hiding, and he took his glove off, and he'd breathe into the glove so no one could hear us for some reason. Just weird things that we did as 7th and 8th graders, and laughing. And then later later we got away, obviously, and we went back home that night. But later alone, the laughter kind of drained out of me. And I felt like I had this emptiness. And this emptiness, I really could not put a name on it. And that's what sin does. And it offers a moment, and then it invoices your peace. Does that make sense? And I had this, though. I didn't want to admit it, but I had this. I thought about it. This took me a little bit longer as we forecast, and I remember living the life that I was living for a while and being out in Vegas with all my friends. And I had this moment as I'm not becoming anything. And that was rock bottom for me. And it wasn't a headline, yet it was a realization. And it didn't happen until I was in my 30s, believe it or not. That's why I always wish I was the coach that I wish I would have had the coach who I am now back when I was in my 30s, because I didn't have a clue, and I wasted so much time. And here's why what I'm saying to you, why this matters so much, is the version of me wasn't just making mistakes. The version of me had no system in place, no identity in place, and absolutely no surrender in place. So when I say identity matters, being the identity coach that I am, I'm not talking about theory. I'm talking about survival, like true survival. Like, here's a real life moment that I'm going to give to you right now. Sin invoices your peace. It takes it away. And when you can practice the way, and for some of us, it might be a different way, but I'm going to give you the Live to Thrive transformation. That's a translation that will definitely help you. So there's a concept I love, and I don't like to always take, because I just don't. I wasn't self-made. I wasn't self-found. I read books, and I had coaches, and I had mentors along the way. But I remember this distinctive book. The book was called Practicing the Way, and the idea that you just don't just believe in something. You become a disciple through practice. And that's what I teach my clients. It's through rhythmatic patterns, through training in life. You could be insert training in fitness, life, relationships, what have you. And in other words, your faith isn't just what you say on Sundays, hence today's Sunday, right? Or when I'm recording this. Your faith is what you do on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, all the way until the next Sunday. It's building Monday habits that are proven to work. Now, this aligns with Live to Thrive, where you don't build goals. Obviously, all of you built goals, but you did it the wrong way, and that's why this doesn't work. That's why you're still failing and still lying to yourself. That's why you have to check out my webinar, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. We build rhythms, true factual rhythms. Now, like faith is a practice. Without practicing it, you can never be good at it. You can never have true hope and genuine fortitude and positivity in your life, a true happiness, joy inside. Peace is a practice. Without peace, there's chaos. Discipline is a practice. And even worship is a practice. And how many of you can worship 12 different ways, 12 different times in a day? Takes work. Takes a lot of work. So when people say things like, I just need more motivation, I see this. I'm in groups. How do you people say this all the time? I need motivation to get through my workouts or stop eating and I eat all this trash. And I just had one of those days yesterday. It's okay. It's okay to have those days. If you're doing them regularly, it's a wholly different story. I had Culver's yesterday, so I know you guys want to know. So I'm just gonna. I had the Culver's North Atlantic cod sandwich with French fries, and then I had the raspberry shake to go with it. And then when I got home, I had some more ice cream. So I'm saying all this, but discipline is a practice, right? It's okay to have. You got to get rid of the perfectionism mentality. I had that mentality for so many years in my days of modeling and being on the cover of magazines and being a jockey model for underwear. But here's what I'm saying. When people say I just need more motivation, I'm like, no, you need what I call a rule of life. All right. A rhythm and a way. I'll say that again. You don't need more motivation. You need a rule of life with rhythm and a way. Here's a cold, hard, true fact that I'm about to drop some knowledge on you right now. When life gets loud and chaotic and too busy, you don't rise to inspiration. You fall to what your training has got you to. Now, I want to talk about movement, which is the fitness piece, the joy of moving and exciting. And I love to move my body. And why fitness is spiritual. I'm tying this all together for you. And let's talk about the fitness piece. Some people treat fitness like a punishment. How many of you are like that? Oh, I have to go work out. Oh, I have to work out after work today. No, I get to. And you get to because you are enough. And instead of saying, I'm not enough, movement is not a punishment. It's a way of participating in a life that has to be in alignment of who you want to be. Now, there's a powerful idea in the joy of movement. And when we move, there's a true fact to all of this. It changes our mood. And when our mood begins to change, our confidence explodes. Our resiliency expands. And when we get so much of this resiliency, we can build this term called anti-fragility. And then movement then reminds us of the body that I am alive. I've got a heartbeat that's meant and has purpose. And when you've been in grief, and raise your hand if you've been in grief, because man, it comes in so many ways. So many ways. Or maybe even depression or anxiety or overwhelmingness or overthinking mode. Let me tell you this thing right here. The hardest thing is just that first step. It's just starting. You don't have to see the end. We all want to see the end, and nobody wants to see the progress or process. The hardest thing is just starting that first step. The moment you move is when something just shifts inside of you. And it's not that your problems are going to disappear. It's that your body stops being a prisoner and becomes your partner. Ooh, right? Stop being the prisoner of your own body and begin to be a partner with your body. Now, fitness can also be worship. And let me get a little bit more detailed on that. And here's what I mean about that. It's not that sweat is holy, and it's not because stewardship is holy. It's God gave you this body. And it's not as a decoration, yet I like to call it as an instrument, a testimonial to your discipline, your disciple of your body. So movement is a participation in actual life. And the follow through to all of this, the follow through problem to all of this is the enemy wants to always negotiate with you. And most people do not fail because they don't know what to do. They can cheat and go to ChatGPT, and it can give you, if you set up the right parameters, it can give you all of this great information. You know what they do though? You know why they fail? They fail for many reasons. But one of that in particular that really sticks in my mind is they fail because they negotiate too much. Are you negotiating on your goals? Are you doing that? And you wake up and your mind starts bargaining with yourself. Oh, I'll start tomorrow. I'm just too tired. And again, I did a whole thing about this. Be careful what you put your I am to. If you say I am tired, you've identified that as an identity. I feel. Or I deserve a break, right? I deserve to eat all this just junk food. I deserve it. Or better yet, I'll do it later. I'm going to be real clear here. I'm going to be real plain when I say this. If you continue to negotiate with yourself daily, you lose weekly. You lose. And that's why I built identity statements. Not just goals. Here's a Liv2Thrive identity statement or shift that you can implement into your life today. Instead of saying, I'm attempting to work out, you become then what I say, I'm the type of person who trains. So instead of saying, I'm going to use this word, which I don't like using this word, but I hear this all the time because we don't have the right mindset to train our minds. I'm trying to work out. You become, I'm the type of person who trains. First of all, stop using the word try. Say, I'm attempting to do my very best to work out. When you do that, you can become the person who is better than the day before, which is the 1% mentality that I teach my clients. So training. So instead of saying, I'm trying to pray, say something like, I'm attempting to pray. And when you say, I am attempting to pray, you become the type of person who can meet God daily. There's a whole sermon on that today, on how many of you like really identify in Scripture daily. Do you need Jesus as your Lord and Savior every day? You do. If you want these abundant blessings and for him to know you when you get in front of Jesus on the day of your reckoning. So the follow through to all of this, it's not a mood. I want to be really clear. Everybody has to be in these moods to start something new. It's a standard. And it's the gold standard. If you want more detailed help on this, the link is in my bio. The real moment, if you negotiate daily, you lose weekly. Stop losing weekly. You ever not see someone for a year and all of a sudden you're like, man, what happened to them? Losing. You may have some issues daily, but you lose weekly. I want to give a client story to you right now. And I'm not going to give the name of the client. I'm going to use a biblical reference. And I think it's so important for the sanctitude of their identity. But we're going to call this client of mine Esther. Esther was a strong one. Strong in career, strong in family. She was always dependable. Yet privately, she was extremely exhausted, overwhelmed, fatigued, almost reactive at some point. Gained a lot of weight. She was what I call spiritually dry. And she didn't need a new workout plan. She had plans. She needed what I call a new identity. And we started one simple statement. It was really simple. And that statement was, I don't abandon myself to prove my self-worth and my love. I'll say that again because it's really powerful here. What I helped her with then is to say, I don't abandon myself to prove my self-worth or my internal love. Then we built the rhythms, which I talked about earlier on the podcast. And I want to give you some of these rhythms that are really going to help. The faith rhythm, which is just small morning prayer when you wake up, and then small evening prayer. For one of my clients, another one of my clients was 5 minutes of prayer in the morning, 5 minutes of prayer at night, reflecting, right? And then the fitness rhythms. 3 strength sessions weekly, or maybe for another client, it was 3 walks daily, or weekly, I should say. And then the follow-through rhythm. The follow-through rhythm was 1 promise per day that is scripted and tracked. All right? And you know what was so amazing when I helped her implement these things, and I did this with other clients as well, but I think of Esther for this example, is what changed first? It wasn't her weight. It wasn't her weight. It was her confidence. And her confidence wasn't a feeling. It was just evidence that it works. And when she started keeping promises to herself, she stopped feeling like a fraud, right? Like lying to yourself. I'm going to start tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. So confidence isn't a feeling. It's actual evidence that you're in alignment with your identity. So there's another story that I want to share with you that I'm going to get pretty serious here. And I'm going to get pretty reflective here. And I had moments in my life where a near-death experience really forced me on the why. And it forced me to get the why, to bring it in more focus, right? It's kind of like going get your eyes evaluated, and is it A lens or B lens? And it's like more focus, right? So I've had the moments that forced my why into focus. So one of them was on a lake. If you want to know more about the story, I did share this, and I've got 2 episodes that I shared this in with, but a boy was drowning that I knew, and I jumped in the lake to attempt to save him. I nearly died. He had drowned. And when I got to him, I didn't get out on my own. If it wasn't for a fisherman pulling me out of the water, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be a father. I wouldn't be providing value to other people. And I remember afterward thinking, if I would risk my life to save somebody else, why was I living like my own life didn't matter? It's a scary moment for a second, right? That moment rewired my true identity. I talked about this on a podcast that I was just on recently. I changed my whole outlook. I had that short Backstreet Boys hairstyle, frosted tips, right? I grew it to this long hair right here. So you can see the ponytail in the back. Or I should say man bun. You know, that moment really rewired me, and that it reminded me that life isn't promised. And postponing a purpose is a quiet form of self-betrayal. Stop living the life that you have when you can change it. that quiet form of betrayal, the woulda, coulda highlight reel or the real highlight reel? Which one are you going to pick on their day of reckoning? So when I talk about faith, fitness, and follow through, I'm talking about honoring the gift that all of us that are listening have been given. You don't get an unlimited amount of chances to become who you were meant to be or who you were called to be. So we stop playing it, right? We stop playing with it and we stop. We get to the wall and we stop. We don't know how to get through it, around it, under it, over it, wherever, through it. I'm going to say this and be very clear to all of you. Postponing purpose is factual self-betrayal. It's self-betrayal. So let me talk to all of you that are listening right now. If you're overwhelmed, or what you're probably doing is you're attempting to fix everything all at once, and you're spinning on this endless merry-go-round, or you're waiting to feel ready. Oh, I just need to be ready. Or my finances, I just don't have enough money. Or you're blaming your schedule, you don't have enough time, or you're expecting confidence before you actually have a commitment. That order and that sequence that I just listed is going to always keep you stuck. You're never going to change. The Liv2Thrive order is different. Commitment builds confidence, which creates change. Practice builds peace. Follow through builds identity. And yes, faith matters here. Faith says this: I'm not feeling strong today. However, I have a standard. I have a source. And some of you feel guilty due to the fact that you want more discipline in your life. Let me flip that for a second. Wanting discipline is not condemnation. It's a calling that you all need. You all need support. You all need guidance. You all need a coach. Wanting discipline isn't condemnation. It's a true factual calling. So I want to put together now the core framework for faith, fitness, and follow through. So 3-part system for today's episode, which I'm talking about here. The first one, great way to take some notes and journal this right now, or script it, I should say. Faith anchors identity. Faith is where you get your name back. Let's just call that what it is. Not what the world calls you, the secular, lie-based world that's full of ugly sin. It's not what your past calls you. If people want to drum up your past, let them. Mel Robbins says it best, let them. It's not what God calls you. Fitness, then, the number 2 is fitness trains consistency. Fitness gives you daily reps in doing hard things on purpose. And then the follow-through piece. Follow-through builds trust. Every kept promise tells your brain, I can be trusted. And trust is the foundation of discipline. You don't trust yourself. That's why you keep failing. There's no discipline in place. Because you keep renegotiating with yourself. Especially when you wake up in the morning, you're bargaining. And that's not self-help fluff that I give you. That's truly how you rebuild your life one step at a time. So stop lying to yourself. Why are you continuing to perpetuate? You won't lie to your kids, but you keep lying to yourself. You have these vague goals of lying to yourself with good intentions, right? I want to be better. I want to grow. I want to get in shape. That's not goals. Those are wish lists. A real goal is a specific date, A real goal is a specific number. A real goal is proof. A real goal is rhythm, which I talked about earlier. And it's not to be obsessive, okay? It's to be honest with yourself and true. Vague goals are good intentions with zero transformation. The choice is yours. Vague goals, real transformation. Which one do you want? So I want to give a quick break here, and this one is personal. If you're ready to stop starting over, my coaching agency, Liv2Thrive, offers 3 lanes depending upon what area you need. I have mastermind classes for structure, community, and accountability. I have one-on-one coaching if you want personal strategy and direct support. You meet with me 1 day a week, direct support for an hour, unlimited access to me on my cell. And I also have webinar workshops where for fast clarity tools that you can implement immediately for under 60 minutes. And I've got something really special that I'm about to share with all of you right now. And I really want you to hear this and take advantage of this. I'm offering a free webinar on February 5th at 6:30 p.m. And it's going to be titled Stop Lying to Yourself, the Liv2Thrive goal setting system that actually changes your life. And I'm laughing a little bit here because I cannot believe my marketing company allowed me to actually do this and give this one away for free. Yet I'm doing this for all of you because I see the struggles already in January. And I think February is going to be a good reset for you. And I want you in the room. I want you in the room. So if you've been stuck, if you've been overwhelmed, or you've been inconsistent, this webinar will give you the what, and it'll give you the how. And most importantly, I'll show you what coaching really truly looks like afterward, if that's something you want. And if you want more information on this, I want you to email me at michael@liv2thrive.com and just ask for the link to the free webinar. I will send you just a simple questionnaire, 5 questions on what you are looking for. And then what I'll do is I will send you that Google link that you will have for access. So today's episode is also sponsored by the CBD oil that I've been using, and it's sponsored by Elite Nutrition. So if you're looking for a CBD option that many people add to their wellness routine, you got to check out Superfund Gummies, superfundgummies.com. With promo code New Heights, you get 50% off at checkout with the CBD oil. And I want to be really clear. It's Amish tested, proven formula, got these aches and pains. This is a great way to get rid of it. Now, CBD oil does affect everyone differently, and this isn't medical advice at any means. It's not intended to diagnose you. It's not intended to treat you, cure you, or prevent you from any disease. And especially if you're pregnant, nursing, or taking medication, please talk to your healthcare provider first. But if you want more information on this, you can go to superfundgummies.com, click on the CBD oil of your choice, and when you get to that promo code, just put in New Heights, and you get 50% off at checkout. So now, how do I implement all of this, Michael, without becoming overwhelmed? I got you. It's called the one thing focus. I'm just going to keep it simple for all of you. Choose one identity per action per category. I'll say that again. Choose one identity per action per category. For example, faith. One daily touch point that keeps you connected. Okay. Fitness. One repeatable movement rhythm. And then follow through. One promise that you can keep to yourself daily. Now, the point isn't perfection. The point is becoming the type of person who has follow through. Big word there, follow through. And if you fall off, listen really carefully. Falling off is not failure. Staying off is. Okay? Your comeback doesn't require shame. It requires what I call a return. And stop lying to yourself. All right. And then if you want to go to my webinar, I just gave you that information. So falling off isn't failure. staying off is. Pick which one you want to be today. I want to, as I'm getting close to towards the end of this episode here, is I want to give you another client story. It was a night shift from a hard schedule. I had a client that I'm going to call Nehemiah, and the night shift had a heavy workload. And he told me, Coach, my schedule is my enemy. I said, no, your schedule is neutral. Your interpretation is your enemy. So what we did is we built a fantasy plan, and then we built a real one. Stick with me on this because I think you're going to really find this. So we did shorter prayer rhythm. We did strength training 3 times a week, and we did a daily minimal standard. And his biggest win wasn't on the scale. It wasn't the scale number. His biggest win was, I'm not controlled by my schedule anymore. And that's the follow through that built or started to build his identity. Now, I want to be really clear here when I shared the story with you is your schedule is not your enemy. Your interpretation of it is. So let's land the plane today. And first of all, thank you all for being here. You could be in so many other places, but you chose to be here with me today. I truly appreciate that. Faith is not what you believe. It's what you practice. And fitness is not a body goal. It's a stewardship of training. Follow through is not a personality trait. It's a standard. And if you're listening and maybe you feel behind, I want you to hear me real clear here. You're not behind. You're early in your comeback. Stop lying to yourself with these vague goals. Stop negotiating with yourself for the version of you that wants to truly quit. And stop waiting for motivation like it's your savior, like it just is going to change everything for you. You don't need the perfect conditions to start. You just need identity alignment. And when your identity is truly anchored, your habits stop becoming random. And if this episode today and catching the live, if it really hits you, do me a favor, share with somebody who needs that reset, that may be struggling into the new year with their goals and their journey. And what I see often too is if your goals and your circle of trust are not in alignment with each other, it's constantly going to be a battle. And it's going to be a hard one for you to win. So if you want to go deeper on any of the stuff that I talked about, don't miss out on my free webinar. It's February 5th at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you want more information on that, just email me, Michael@Liv2Thrive.com. The title of that webinar is simple. Stop lying to yourself, the Live to Thrive blueprint that builds goal-setting systems that actually will change your life. Goal is to get it done in an hour. It's going to be monumental. And like I said, I cannot believe my marketing agency said, go for it. It's okay. Do it. It's going to be so much awesome free advice. I think I already looked for signups. I haven't actually promoted it to yet. I promoted it just with my small audience. For those of you that are catching it live, we'll catch it then. But those of you that are catching it on my podcast, we'll catch it next week, Wednesday. And so until next time, I want to leave you with something very much that is important to me. Allow your journey to be in alignment with your true identity. If you don't know your walk and your purpose, just message me. As always, 1% better in mind, body, and soul. And always stay flexed. Take care, y'all.